Hello everyone and welcome back to another Rise of Kingdom video. This is your boy Legend Ronnie, and today we have a very special video for you all that I hope as many as possible will engage with this video. If you would have all the commanders available into the game, which would be your best 5 marches that you would do on the field? These 5 marches will be for field fighting. These 5 marches will be for KVK, perspective, for murder ball. This is the kind of 5 marches that I want to talk about. So I want to create a perfect scenario where each and every player has all the max commanders, right? And I want to give you the possibility of creating the best 5 marches that you would think from your perspective that will be the best. And I want you to write them down in the comment section below, and I also advise you to check the comment section because I'm pretty sure what other players will write might just give you an inspiration. I'm obviously gonna put my best 5 marches that I would do if I would have all the commanders in the game, considering that I'm a content creator and considering if I would not be a content creator, from my point of view, from my perspective, and try to give a little bit of explanation. So I'm gonna start first with the 5 marches that I would do, considering that I'm a content creator, considering that I'm always a target on the field, considering that I'm very active. I don't just play for an hour or 2 hours, I play for very long hours. And at some point, players learn your marches. They learn which are your weakest marches, and they start pounding that march over and over and over. Every time you get it out, they just go on it because you know it's weak, it goes down fast, they get good trades, etc. So taking all these things in consideration, first go-to march for Cavs would be Attila primary with Nevsky as a second in command. I have seen this march in action and I'm pretty happy with the results. People hit me, not me hitting them, unfortunately, and it wasn't just one time, it was a couple of times. And from 5 marches swarming me from the opponents, always Attila Nevsky was the one that was causing the most severely wounded as an individual march. Number 2, I cannot give up on Saladin. His 50% march speed reduction with 5 seconds is just too good. And Trajan, because I cannot give up on Trajan as well. I have tested Saladin and Trajan. I am super happy about the march. It is as tanky as it can be. If just one guy picks on the march, at some point he will just leave it and hit something else because it just doesn't go down. He's very defensive. Of course, it depends on the equipment, tech, and various other things as well. But overall, Saladin and Trajan beast march. Going on to the march number 3, you cannot give up on Pakal and Harald. As I said, this is about having all the commanders, right? For obvious reasons. It doesn't matter if nobody is hitting him or if it's just hitting a single target. Pakal and Harald just gets really good trades. I mean, it's something that I don't think anybody would want to give up when you think about it. Going on to the number 4, Bertrand being primary, and as a second in command, it would vary. The first option I would go to as a second in command, it would be William. So Bertrand and William would be my 4th march. But if he's not as tanky as I would want him to be, which I guess Bertrand will be tanky enough, but in the situation where Bertrand will not be as tanky as I want him to be, there is Takeda. So that's all good. It's no problem if Bertrand and William will be a target. I'll take William out and I would put Takeda. Now this could also be switched a little bit around if you want to. You could also do Saladin and Takeda for that matter, and you could do Bertrand and Trajan. But I believe that everybody would want a much faster skill rotation. That's why Saladin and Trajan, so you can get the buff from Trajan and the rage regeneration from Trajan. So that's why Saladin and Trajan support tree is much better for a skill rotation. And as the 5th march, I would go with Artemisia primary and Amanitor as a second in command, which I have her somewhere over here, not unlocked, obviously. You're probably wondering why not Amanitor first. Everybody does Amanitor first and Artemisia second. They do that because of the support tree. On the support tree you have Rejuvenate, which offers a very fast skill rotation. So the support tree generates quite a lot of rage. This is why people go Amanitor first, Artemisia second, and on the same time Amanitor has the Garrison, and if you want, you could make an Amanitor talent tree that could serve both Garrison and Field Perspective. That might sound a little bit crazy, but it is very possible. You just need the minimum points on the Garrison, and then you can go into support and archers, and you can do field and Garrison. So you can just chuck the march straight into Garrison, and you have a Garrison commander, better than nothing. But the reason I would put Artemisia first is because I want a punishing tanky march, and the only way you can get that is with Artemisia first. So you can get the defense talent tree, so you can boost more the defensive option of this march. But the second thing I would take in consideration is the equipment that you do on Artemisia and Amanitor. So I would go with these two epics that you see over here. I would not go with legendary, even if the legendary would be special talented, and I'm talking about the helmet and I'm talking about the pants, because this is 10 plus 10, this is 20 extra defense. Now if you go with the attack option, like I said, if it's special talented, it's definitely a lot of attack, and if you go with the helmet option, special talented, it is quite a lot of attack, but you want to increase the defensive option of this march, because I would want 5 tanky marches, as tanky as possible, and also punishing and also doing a lot of damage and all sorts of stuff. So from the commanders available, this would be my 5 go-to marches. And now let's say that I'm not a content creator, I'm not being a target, a dream on. You would want to have 5 super good marches and you have all the commanders available. The number 1 march that I would go with is Guan Yu and Scipio. Guan Yu and Alex, it is a very exceptional march, but since Scipio has been introduced, me personally, if I would do only 1 infantry march, I would put Scipio over Alex. I know Alex max skill is still amazing, but the difference is quite big between Alex and Scipio, even if Scipio is not max skill. And then you have additional damage, so the 5-5-5-1, Scipio is quite amazing commander to use. And you get the 20% health bonus, which definitely helps the march when he's getting swarmed or when you're hitting targets, to try to get as good trades as possible. The second march that I would go, it would be Gilgamesh with Nebuchadnezzar. This could also go with Ramses and Nebuchadnezzar. It's all a matter of preferences, but I would go with Gilgamesh first for obvious reasons. You have the skill tree is much faster, rage generation, you'll have the feral nature from the skill tree, and this kind of helps, especially on these types of fighting that is going on right now, just up and down, in and out. You can also take in consideration the 4th skill of Gilgamesh, or the expertise, because you have a 30% chance to inflict a blood craving debuff. And if the target is healed, it does 700 damage on the target as additional, but the whole point is that the target will take 15% increase skill damage, which will help all your marchers that are doing skill damage. Going on to the march number 3, it would be Trajan and Mulan. Considering that, again, you're not a content creator, you're not targeted, you're probably not playing for 16 hours, and you just want to do as much damage as possible, be as helpful as possible, Trajan and Mulan, it is a very exceptional march to use in the Murder Ball. Of course, it has ups and downs like any other march, which I don't want to go into details, but as a support march, buffing march for Murder Balls is probably one of the best right now. Going on to the march number 4, you cannot skip XY. It would be XY and Nevsky. Now a lot of people have this concern about XY and Nevsky because it gets swarmed. That is very true, and even myself, I'm starting to target this march, XY and Nevsky. But to be very honest, if you just manage to do a couple of cycles of skills, it might just be enough to compensate the damage that you're doing versus the damage that you're taking. So XY and Nevsky, it is an exceptional march, it is a very fragile march. Like many players are saying, it is a high risk, but can also bring high rewards. And as the 5th march for this section of 5 marches, it would include William as well, so it will be another Cav march, and that would be Chandra Gupta being first and William being as a second in command. Now, if you don't have Chandra Gupta, or if you're wanting to do these 5 marches and you're thinking that probably Chandra Gupta is not worth it because some of the other commanders that I mentioned, probably most of you have them, you could potentially go with Saladin and you could potentially go with Minamoto as well. Me personally, I think that Minamoto might have been a better option than Chandra Gupta because at least Minamoto debuffs with 30% damage on the target, and it has quite a big nuke capability when these 75% chances go in, especially when the target is being debuffed and all that. You could go with a Minamoto primary and William, but I mentioned Chandra Gupta because Chandra Gupta boosts William AoE with 40% damage, so when William does his primary, if he's going to hit 3 targets, he's definitely going to be empowered. And then you have the health and defense reductions that Chandra Gupta is capable to do, and probably keep them up for a very long time. So all the options are pretty good options. Either you do Saladin and William, Chandra Gupta and William, or Minamoto and William. This would be super 5 solid marches. If I would have to expand this to a 6 march capability, I would go with Ramses and Tomyris. Now, if you put all that in consideration, the amount of debuff that you can bring on the table is quite high. So if the battlefield it is in your favor and you're not being crushed and demolished, these are 5-6 marches that will probably bring you so many kills that you would drop a tear of happiness. So I hope you approve my selection, and I want to read your comments in the comment section below. What would you do? Until next time, this is your boy Geroni signing off. Peace out, yo, and take care. See you on the next one, and stay safe out there, my friends.